Hey, good evening, everyone. John Henry Soto here. Welcome to tonight's show. This show is called What I Say, and it's basically a show where I talk about some strategies, social media strategies for filmmakers, real estate agents, musicians, any type of artists, and more. And I love to do it with some flair, some style, some jokes, and to be honest, the jokes don't always land, but I do the best I can with what I got. You know what I mean? This is it. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And we're going to be going over some things. We're going to go about 7 different strategies that you can use to expand your business. And the reason I titled this, Angry at Technology, is because we get people out there that are in this space and are constantly on social media and posting and blah blah blah, and they're always saying, especially businesses, right? Well, you got to get on that social media, you got to get out there, you got to get content, and it drives people kind of crazy, and they're like, oh god, I know. And so my job and my responsibility is to try to make that easier for the business owner or the entrepreneur or an artist. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a musician, and I love doing what I do, right? I love helping artists and I love helping people in general. So the fact that I have a little bit of this knowledge, and it's getting more and more, been doing this a long time, I like to share what I know with others, and hopefully they can benefit from it as well. And I should be looking here. I don't know why I'm looking at the screen, because that's where I have my stuff that I got to read. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. So we're going to jump right in. This is going to be quick and painless. I'm going to give you 7 strategies that you can use to get your content out there and to really have an overall strategy for the whole year. Really, if you stick to these 7 things, you will have a successful year in social media. If you're brand new, this is the place to be. I did a real estate kind of a workshop about 2 weeks ago. It was very successful. I got some nice response from it. If you are a real estate agent, or even if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, you can still watch that episode, and it'll give you definitely a lot of great tools there as well. Today is an overall strategy for whatever type of business you're in. Even if you're an artist, if you're filmmaker, musician, painter, any kind of art that you do, today is the day. So we're gonna jump right in. First, I'll just give myself a little advertising. Appreciated Content is the name of my company. Creating content that you can actually use. Creating content you can actually use, and you can go to appreciatedcontent.com for more information. And at the end of this, I'll give you any contact information that if you want to reach out to me, ask me any questions. I use everything that I'm going to be telling you. I use, right? I use all these strategies, especially for film. I had a film that just premiered yesterday in New York City at the New Filmmakers Film Festival. It was a lot of fun. It was virtual, so I've been to that festival in the past for other films, and there with live, and we were there, and it's very, very exciting. So this was a little bit different, but still it was great to see all the other films and the participants, and the festival has always been great. It's been around for like 20 years or something. So it was a lot of fun. But I did a lot of marketing for that film as well, to get it so they can actually see it and get it into the film. I mean, there were only 3. It was a short film, and there were only 3 of them for yesterday's program. So I was very happy to be one of them. I was sandwiched in the middle there, so it was pretty cool. So all these things that I'm going to be saying today, all these tactics, all these strategies are things that I think about every single day and that I do every single day. And we're going to be going into not only these 7 steps or these 7 strategies, but as well as some other stuff that I'm going to help you kind of guide you into a more comfortable place. Because I know that that's where doing this consistently is really difficult. It doesn't have to be difficult. It just has to be incorporated into your life. And we're gonna talk about that. All right. Numero uno. So number 1. Okay, this sounds kind of simple, right? Set goals that make sense for your business. So how would that make sense for your business? Well, I'll give you an example. I'll give you two businesses, right? A bakery and a real estate agency. So, or a real estate agent, right? Because a real estate agent is a business, basically, right? So if you take these 2 businesses, obviously they have completely different products, right? But one of the things that they have to sit down and do is the goals that they're going to set for their business are going to be slightly different. They're both going to be in the success realm, right? Everybody's going to want to be successful, but the goals are going to be slightly different. So you have to try to figure out what kind of content is going to actually make you reach those goals, and it has to make sense. So when I say, that that makes sense for your business, it's sort of like if you're a baker, and right, and that's you have a bakery and you're a baker. Well, you can't go around grabbing your phone and, quick, get the muffins. You can't do that because it's going to disrupt your process. Plus, you're going to be touching your phone, right? You're messing with food. So you have to plan it out. You have to set a goal and say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this batch. Then I'm going to wash up. I'm going to grab my phone and do a bunch of photos, do a bunch of videos. Then I'm going to put my phone down and I'm going to do the next batch, right? A real estate agent is going to think a little bit differently, right? They're going to go to a listing appointment, or they're going to go see a house, or they're going to show a house. They will grab their phone, and when they get to the house, they go, "Hey, everybody! So this is the property that I'm about to show to someone. This is the address. If you have any questions about this property, just let me know. Click send. Go into the house, do the thing. Maybe take some photos if you're comfortable with the clients. Then ask them. Hey, do you mind if I do a photo? You have to kind of get comfortable. Obviously, but the strategies are different, right? But the goals, you have to make sure you have those goals set in the beginning. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down with a blank piece of paper and a pen or a pencil or a crayon and start writing down, okay, my goal for this year is I want to sell this thing. I want to do this. I want to sell this many homes. I want to open up a second bakery, or I want to be able to hire some more help this year, right? Now you have to figure out how are you going to take those goals, and incorporate your brand, your life to those goals, right? And you do that with some of the strategies that are coming up, right? That's the first one. Number two, take time to research your target audience. Now, this obviously everyone has to do this. You have to know who you're selling to, right? For example, I'm selling to small businesses. I'm selling to entrepreneurs. I'm selling to artists, independent artists, independent filmmakers that need to brand themselves. I'm selling to those individuals that and that's my target audience, right? So that's my target audience. But I do actually like to share information for anyone, no matter what business they're in. So you have to sit down and say, okay, my target audience is going to be whatever it is. If it's a bakery, you're going to say, okay, I'd like to get maybe some bakeries do really well with corporate accounts, right? So you want to go around the community and you want to actually meet the business owners, and when they have a birthday party or any kind of a celebration, they know your bakery is right there. That's something that you want to do. You want to make sure that with social media, you get on your phone and you start finding those businesses of between 50 and 1,000 employees, or maybe 50 to 500, depending on what you think your business can actually handle, and start reaching out to them and start setting up going around their business, taking photos of their business. All these ideas are like, if you call me, all these ideas I will actually give you. You write them down and you can say, oh, that's a good idea, and I have a list here that I'm going to show you in a little bit, with 20 ideas on how you can create content that's relevant to your business. Okay. So make sure you know your audience. That's number two. Number three, establish your most important metrics and KPIs, right? So you have to make sure that you know what it is, where you are to where you want to be, right? And that's the real key performance index is what KPI, in case anybody was wondering. It's key performance index. So what is it that you measure? How many muffins you sell in one day? How many cakes you bake and sell in one day? How many listings? How many phone calls you're making to try to get a listing if you're a real estate agent? If you're an artist, if you're a painter, how often do you paint, right? If you're a filmmaker, do you sit down and write? How often do you sit down and actually write? And start coming up with a graph. Start coming up with actual things that make sense that you can actually balance, and you can look at later. So let's just say if I'm making phone calls and I need to make, I know that if I make 50 phone calls, I will get one listing, right? So, and that there is a science to that as well, right? So I know that I have to make a certain amount of phone calls every single day, at least 50, right? So did you make your 50 phone calls? Now that's a lot. Phone calls today are mixed in with like social media, with um emails sometimes can be that, voice messages can be that, a video sent to a client. Hey, don't know if you remember me, but I showed you this home, and I have some beautiful homes that just came on the market. Give me a call, and I'll love to set up an appointment to show you those homes, right? That can count in that, right? So you have to, that's why you have to sit down and establish what they are. Establish what it is that you're measuring, so you know that when you measure today, you can come back in a month and say, oh, okay, I was consistent, or right here I fell down and I need to really pick up because my numbers dropped, right? So this way, it's your business, right? Especially if you're a musician, for instance, right? Give yourself a target. I'm going to write a song, one song per week, or I'm going to go try to play a club in a week. So you have to, okay, what are you going to do to get that? Well, you got to go on, find the venues, right? How many venues did I talk to today? There's a matrix. How many people did I talk to that have venues, that can book me on some festivals or something? There's a metric. So you want to make sure you know what they are, so you can go back and see what your improvements are, or if you need to work on something, right? All right, number 4, numero cuatro. By the way, if anybody has any questions, you can just drop them in there. This is live. We are live. It is now 10:12 p.m. Thursday, January 27th, and we are live we are in Central Time, so it's 10:12 p.m. here Central, and I would love to answer any questions. But here we go for number 4. Okay, create and curate engaging social content. So this is always one that gets people stumped a little bit. And I talked about this on the real estate show and last week's show as well, because it's such a thing that people feel they don't have they don't have anything that they think that people are going to be interested in. And that's not for you to decide. You are a valuable person. Your experiences, someone else could benefit from you. And if you don't believe that, trust me, you have to believe me. There are people out there who are going to hear you say something, and they're going to be like, oh wow, you know what, that happened to me, you know, and they will get the benefit of hearing your story and your journey. So content has to come from your life. It has to come from you. It's building a brand, and the value that you create in someone's life will not only possibly make them a customer in the future, but it will always get them to want to pay that forward, because they got that information from somewhere. People generally want to help, right? That's why we're here on this planet, is to help each other, right? I mean, that is really the main purpose of why we're all here on this planet, is to help and love each other and to try to get through this, right? And when you have information that really helped you, it is something that you want to impart to someone else. So if you have valuable information, if you had I grew up in the South Bronx, right? I grew up in the ghetto, basically, very, very poor, and had to go through a lot of things. I have experiences of getting out of that environment and doing stuff that a lot of people don't have. So it took me a while. I'm not going to say that I jumped right out there, but I realized, this information might be valuable to someone. And what I realized, as soon as I got back some inflow from people, and people started telling me, wow, I didn't know that, that I grew up that way, or I was on welfare, or I had this happen to me. And that reality is there. They feel they're not alone, and there are people out there that can use this information. So your story is different than anyone else's. Trust me on that. Your story is unique to you. No one else has your story. And even if there's similarities to it, no one else can interpret your story the way you can. No one else can explain it the way you can, because they're your experiences. So you have to incorporate all this stuff with your life. And that is your content. That is what you actually do. I'm going to show you a graph real quick. I try to talk fast because, I don't want to, keep everyone too long. I want to get you all the information. But okay, so here's a graph that I put together. It's just got 20 ideas of content that you can put out, right? Some of this may not apply to your business, but some of it might. Cooking, for instance. Of course, if you have a bakery like we were talking about, well, that's definitely, fits the mark. Eating out at a restaurant, you're out with friends and you're eating out at a restaurant. There's some content, unique things about a property. If you're a real estate person, right? Some of these are for real estate as well, right? So if you have I'm a real estate agent in New Jersey. I was where I lived. I live in Nashville now, but I still have my license there. And one of the things that I did was I would do a lot of videos. You can go on YouTube and see some of my quirky little real estate videos that I did. But they were effective. People got a kick out of them, and it kept me relevant in the real estate market. And it was a great thing. New outfit that you got, birthday. I'm not going to read all of these, but you get the idea. This is something, if you want, I can email it to you. Just send me an email. I would be more than happy to email you these ideas. And these are just triggers, right? These will just trigger an idea. Somebody will say plans for vacation. Well, plans for the summer. I don't know. I'm not going to do anything this summer, but I am going to go to a wedding. Well, that might trigger something. Okay, I got some content about a wedding, right? So I think that it's very, very important for you to really understand that content comes from your life. Content comes from every single day things that you run into, and how you actually gain the confidence to put that content out there is just by doing it, by understanding that it's unique. Whether you think, if you don't think that, whether you think it or not, it is unique, and you have to trust me on that, because I've seen thousands and thousands, and I've made thousands of posts that they may seem the same, but they're all different. They're all unique to the actual individual that's posting them. So how do you, well, let's go on to number five. Number five, make your social presence as timely as possible. So timely is defined as, doing something that's current, right? That's right on at a good time, at a good moment, right? So timely could be, let's just say you don't want to show a house, if you're a real estate agent again, you don't want to show a home that is already off the market, right? It's not timely. It's something you could show it if it's relevant and say, hey, this house I sold last month, another one came up that looks just like it, and it's even cheaper, right? Or it's the same price or whatever. You can use it that way, but you want to keep things timely. So for instance, you're a baker, right? We're going bakers and real estate, right? And you could say an artist as well. Let's say a musician, just to change it up a little bit, right? A musician played a gig, the gig is over. A week later, they're posting on that gig, right? Well, they should have been posting on that gig later that night, earlier in the day, and that was the content. That's the timeliness, so people can see it. They're doing that right now, especially if you do it right before your gig and it's near people. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I didn't know you were playing tonight. I'm glad you posted that. I'm gonna go check you out because I'm in town, or I'm available, or I'm around. I live around there." So it has to be timely to it, and just keep it. Think with that, and this one, the number five, has something that another piece to it that I'm going to talk a little bit about, that I talked about with the real estate training that I did. So, and it's basically this, right? You have to develop a content viewpoint by increasing awareness of your daily life. So content viewpoint, you have to develop it, because we're not we weren't born doing this, right? But we also weren't born driving, right? We also weren't born knowing how to write and read, right? We had to learn those things, right? This is the same kind of concept. You have to kind of figure out what it is that your life could actually connect with an audience, right? And when you develop a content viewpoint, you start realizing, oh, I just bought this mug at this place, and it costs this much, and it's my favorite color. Is that a piece of content? Yes, it is. It is a piece of content. It's also timely because you just bought it, right? Take a picture of it. My favorite coffee is this, and I drink it out of this thing, and I just bought. Um, it's a viewpoint, right? You're just thinking with it more than you were before. So, like, whatever you're going, this hat, I have a story about this hat. I'm not going to tell it now, but I have a story about this hat. I have a story about this mic. I have a story about this book that someone gave me. I have a story about my phone. These are all pieces of content, and I developed a content viewpoint that I can now look at things in a way that I think, okay, well, this actually might be entertaining to someone. I like to do funny videos as well. Sometimes it's just a motivational thing. I thought of something and I thought, oh, this might be something cool to say. These motivational quotes sometimes are selfishly more for me than it is for anyone else. I think, wow, this is so great. I want to communicate this because this has really inspired me, and I want somebody else to try to get this same inspiration that I'm feeling right now. So I go out and I post it, but it makes me feel great. Selfishly speaking, it makes me feel great that I got to communicate that and put that out there. Content viewpoint. Start thinking with content viewpoint. Whenever you're doing something, is this a piece of content? Ask yourself. And I guarantee you, I can find something, anything that'll be a piece of content that you can utilize. Okay. So that is number 5. Number 6, assess what's working. And this is a little bit also with the metrics that we were talking about, right? Assess what's working, what isn't, and how to keep improving, right? So this is all businesses, right? You have to see what was working and what's not working. Whatever is working, do more of it, and whatever is not working, get it out of here, right? And with social media, it's definitely important because sometimes you'll post something and you'll be like, oh man, that didn't get me anything. Nobody even saw it, and then you go and maybe later on you say, you know what, I'm going to repost that again. And you repost it again with a different title or maybe a little bit more text to it. Maybe you change the font. Anything could sometimes spark something. And this is called split testing, right? I don't know if you've ever heard that, but if you find, there's a guy named Russell Brunson who has a company called ClickFunnels, right? ClickFunnels, they do a lot of split testing. They're the masters of creating funnels for your businesses, right? I've used them for years. They're a fantastic company, very ethical company, very well-run company. So Russell Brunson is the king of split tests, right? He's been doing this for a long time. You think I'm talking fast? He talks really fast, but very clear and a very, very smart guy. Check out ClickFunnels. Check out Russell Brunson because he's somebody that can show you how to do a split test. I could show you also if you want to reach out to me, but also get the content of Russell Brunson because it'll show you, like, sometimes you put out one thing, it'll have this color, and then you put out this thing and it'll have this color, and you'll be like, oh, this one did so much better. Okay, I'm going to keep that color. I'm going to change the text. The text did even better. Oh, I'm going to keep that color with that text, and that's going to be my thing, and I'm going to start utilizing that. These are split tests. So this is what you do in social media. You figure out what content works and what doesn't work, right? Now, it doesn't matter that it didn't work. That's the one thing. Once it doesn't work, you just move on, right? Go on to the next thing, right? But when you're split testing, you have to look at it and be like, okay, I'm not going to sweat it, but I do have to find out why it didn't work, right? And then you do something similar to it and see how that goes. Maybe that worked better. You never know, right? So you have to be able to look at it, but don't get emotional about it because the pieces of content have to come and fly, and you have to just put a lot of stuff out there. And the reason for that is that it's so noisy on social media, right? There's a million things hitting everybody's face, constantly. Ads and posts and things you want to consume from your friends and your family, and then ads and all this other stuff that comes in, right? So you want to make sure that you're aware that you're in competition with a lot of people, but you have a small group, right? Or maybe you have a large group, right? I don't know, but whatever it is, your content is going to get to certain people, and then you're going to be able to figure out what works and what doesn't, and that's going to help you expand your reach and expand your audience. Okay, so split testing, very important. Make sure you understand. I'll go back to this again. Well, that's not it. Assess what's working, what isn't. Make sure you figure that out. Keep a journal so you can go back later on and say, like, this really worked, this great. This did, this ad did great for me on Valentine's Day last year. I'm gonna do it again this year. All right, and the last one, number 7, bring other departments into the mix. So departments is obviously if you have a business, but departments could also be just other areas of your life or other people that are in your environment. For example, you would bring, if you're a writer and you're writing a film, right? You want to bring in maybe a co-writer. I just met someone on social media that just emailed me this morning, who's a writer and who's looking for a co-writer. So I'm gonna set up a meeting with him, and see what if our styles are alike, and see if we can write something together, right? I don't know him, he doesn't know me, but he saw my content and he brought me in. So he's bringing me into the mix. I'm bringing him into the mix over here. Reach out to people that are also in the same industry, even if you're the competitor. You know what I mean? It's like I talk to social media people all the time. I follow a lot of social media, Gary Vaynerchuk, Manuel Suarez, Grant Cardone, all these guys, and of course Russell Brunson, which I mentioned earlier. I follow them religiously. I've even had little interactions with them, here and there, little comments. And it's very, very, it's fantastic. They're not my competitors, they're my, what do you call it? They're my contemporaries, right? They're my partners in social media, right? And they're always willing to help. That's another thing about this industry, is that when you find someone out there that really is understands it, they want to help. They really do want to help, and it's important to find those people and bring them into your world. It could also be your spouse, it could also be your partner. Just say, hey, you know what, I'm working on this thing and I'm doing this social media campaign. I'm getting out these headshots to agents, and I have a lot of envelopes that I have to, can you help me help me out with this, and get me out. If I book a gig, I'll give you 10% of whatever I get. Help, you know what I mean? So you bring people into that world, and very, very important to do that. This is not, there are moments where you're going to have to sit down by yourself and kind of study stuff, right? And write. And there's that time that nobody ever sees, right? Where you're just sitting there, this beautiful day outside, and you're sitting in front doing a webinar or studying something, right? There's going to be those moments, but it's nothing more wonderful than bringing in people and really having a team to bounce ideas off of, and really build something. So you want to bring people into your world. So really quickly, set goals that make sense for your business. Take time to research your target audience. Establish your most important metrics and KPIs. Create and curate engaging social content. Make your social presence as timely as possible. Assess what's working, what isn't, and how to keep improving. Oops. And number 7, bring other departments into the mix. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful, very short and sweet. If you have any questions, or if you want to just further learn more about social media, you can always reach out to me. You can call me. That's my direct phone number. You could send me a text to let me know you want to set up an appointment to chat. You can email me at johnhenrysoto@protonmail.com. Also, I'm on all social media platforms, pretty much every single one, as John Henry Soto, and I'll be more than happy to help you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you spending this time with me. The company is Appreciated Content. I just created this, actually. I had a company in Bayonne, New Jersey. When I moved here, we had to shut that down, unfortunately. But I'm here now to help businesses and entertainers and local entrepreneurs to create content that they can actually use. That's what I do. So thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate you. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you all next Thursday, 10 p.m. Central, and I'll be back for more content. And I'm going to talk about some film stuff next week, and that should be fun. So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend. Peace.